Now, we got to see a lot of these new features, the precision passing. One of the things that I noticed immediately, it seems like it gives the player playing more control, but it will be something difficult to master. What do you hope to see from the precision passing system that it'll add to the gameplay?
So when we envisioned it, obviously having more control over placement of the ball is something we've always been interested in. When we first prototyped this out, what we saw is, wow, people are getting sacked a lot and they're throwing a lot of interceptions. But a few people who had kind of mastered certain things started to separate themselves, and what we realized is we have a feature here that creates a skill gap. And for the last 3 years, we've built a lot of features that kind of like brought the skill gap in so more people could play Madden and have fun with it. So this is one way for people to separate themselves, and what you really have to do to get good at target passing is lab. You have to practice, you have to know routes, coverages, know where holes and zones are, and if you're willing to put the time in, I think players can really separate themselves with that feature this year.
Now, I noticed when playing the game, there are a lot of pre-snap adjustments you can do, namely changing how your cornerbacks or wide receivers play. It seems like that's something that will change how a person plays. It seems like in the past you could just maybe hold Y earlier, and we saw in the game while you were playing, if you're a cornerback holding Y, he's going to jump too early. So it seems like there's a lot more risk-reward on the defensive and offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, and it's also about skill mechanics. I think over the last 3 years, our vision had gone in the direction we wanted it to, but in a lot of ways, our skill gap was kind of narrowing, and we wanted to make sure we gave that back. So holding Y the entire time on defense requires no skill. So by simply layering another system on there, which is don't hold it until he throws the ball, otherwise we're going to penalize you, now all of a sudden we create a skill gap. So more skilled users have more ways to separate themselves from everybody else.
Now, of course, we are connected franchise mode. We had a lot of questions about things that may or may not be in the game. Clint was telling us that there's now a draft board feature, so if you're not able to make the draft, your team will draft according to your draft board. One of the other things people were asking about was practice mode. Is there any change in practice mode, the ability to run scrimmages, or is it going to run basically the same as in Madden 17?
No, it's the same thing as Madden 17. Our telemetry told us that not as many people are playing through practice mode as games, so it hasn't been a primary point of emphasis for us to invest in game prep and stuff like that.